the quote unquote UFO wave with the drones and the orbs. It's questionable whether some of the drones, I think, are actually government vehicles or not, and civilian vehicles. But what do you know about the more orb-like things?
Yeah, I've gotten some pushback on this. It's my assessment that what we're dealing with here is covert military ops, just based on my own research, watching this whole thing develop. I've got a number of reasons for feeling this way, just based on what the videos I'm seeing, the ones that I feel are trustworthy. Yeah, some of these are clearly drones as we would think of it. Some do look more like orbs. And this is where I get some of the pushback. But I can tell you that our own government does have technology that is retrieved from ET or reverse engineered from ET tech and would look and act very much like a regular UFO. Not to mention technology with holograms, or very much like we've seen on billboards with cars or people or animals or whales coming out of billboards or out of gymnasium floors and looking entirely real. So this would be very easy for them to do. And one of the reasons I'm really suspicious about this is because of the timing, for one thing. We're having a lot of congressional hearings, a lot of talk, a lot of pushback on the Pentagon for answers about the UFO subject in general. And that's when we have this huge wave of sightings. I'm also very suspicious about how our government is reacting to this, with the CIA and the Pentagon and releasing statements and backpedaling and being conflicting in their reports about what they think this is or not is. I also find the media coverage in general very suspicious because it's a rare UFO event that gets any media coverage at all. And yet this one is a frenzy of coverage. It's deliberately being covered and was for quite some time. Michael Kennedy says it's still going on. Yeah, I've heard about just a recent case in Europe, which I believe occurred today or yesterday. So the coverage, I'm not sure, is accurately reflecting the actual levels of activity. And I know there are some people out there who are absolutely convinced this is ET. But I have to tell you, personally, having investigated a number of UFO waves, they almost always involve people being pulled on board as well. You get a huge spike in reports of people seeing ETs face to face, getting messages of all kinds, being pulled on board. And I'm not seeing any of that as well. I'm also curious about the timing of our shifting government in terms of a new administration. So I'm watching it closely. I will say for me, what really put the nail in the coffin, this being government ops, is talking to contactees. And I'm going to bring up Dolly Saffron again. She's kind of my go-to gal for this because she's in telepathic contact still to this day with her ET contacts. And they said, no, this is not us. This is your military. I'm very concerned that this might be a dry run for the Project Bluebeam quote, a fake ET invasion. I don't know. I'm watching the situation closely. I'm very concerned about it. There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation. I wish we could trust more of the footage we're seeing, but a lot of it out there is clearly CGI. That's a real problem. But apparently some of these objects have crashed, and they're drones as we would think of them. And of course, there's all kinds of theories of these being hobbyists. I think we can discard that. Now, foreign government, that's entirely possible. I think it's more likely our own government, which is heavily compartmentalized. And just because you're a governor or a senator or a representative or even the president doesn't mean that you would be in the loop to what's going on here. Because it's really the highest levels of the military and the intelligence agencies who are behind the cover-up. And I suspect responsible for this activity.
And the lack of response for so long is another sign that it could have been us, because if it was foreign or something truly unknown, I don't think they would just be letting it happen for as long as it happened for.
Yeah. And I wish we could trust the Pentagon or, the CIA or the FBI or the NSA. but we can't.